Once upon a time, nestled deep in a vibrant meadow surrounded by whispering trees and singing streams, there lived a little bunny named Clover. Clover was small, with soft brown fur and delicate white paws. She lived with her large family in a cozy burrow, tucked beneath the roots of a great oak tree. The meadow around their home was a place of peace, full of colorful flowers, rolling hills, and the distant hum of bees gathering nectar. Clover had always been a gentle, shy bunny. While her siblings loved to play and hop around the meadow, Clover often preferred the quiet. She would sit alone beneath the shade of the oak tree, her long ears twitching at every little sound, and her mind wandering to places far beyond the meadow. She imagined traveling to places she had never seen, meeting creatures she had never known. But no matter how much she longed for adventure, she always felt a little afraid to venture out on her own. One bright and sunny morning, Clover's family decided to explore a part of the meadow they had never visited before. Clover's siblings bounced with excitement, eager to discover new paths and hidden treasures. But Clover hesitated. The thought of leaving the safety of their home and the familiar meadow made her feel uneasy. Yet, as she looked at her family, her heart fluttered with the desire to join them. She didn't want to be left behind. Maybe today would be different. Maybe today she would be brave. With a deep breath, Clover hopped out of the burrow and joined her family. As they wandered through the meadow, Clover stayed close behind, her soft paws barely making a sound as she hopped along. The world outside her burrow seemed so big, and the meadow stretched endlessly before her. Clover felt a little overwhelmed but kept her eyes on her family, knowing they would guide her. As they reached the edge of the meadow, Clover's curiosity grew. The grass here was taller and the trees in the distance looked more mysterious. The air smelled of wildflowers and damp earth, and the gentle breeze tugged at her fur. But then, just as they were about to continue their journey, something unexpected happened. Clover was distracted by a small, fluttering butterfly. Mesmerized by its delicate wings, she lost track of where she was, and in a split second, her family was gone. Clover looked around, her heart pounding. The meadow, which had once felt so familiar and safe, now seemed vast and confusing. The butterfly had vanished, and the path her family had taken was nowhere to be seen. She was alone. At first, Clover stood still, hoping that her family would return and that she could find them again. But as the sun climbed higher and the shadows grew longer, she realized that she was lost. The meadow, once so full of life, felt eerily silent. Clover's eyes filled with tears. How would she ever find her way home? What if she couldn't? Just as panic began to rise within her, she heard a rustling in the bushes. Clover froze, her ears perked up. Was it her family? No, the sound was different, softer, more hesitant. Slowly, a small head poked out from the foliage. It was a rabbit, but not one like Clover had ever seen before. This rabbit was slightly smaller, with fur as white as snow, and a faint scar above its right ear. It looked just as nervous as Clover felt, its big eyes wide and cautious. The two rabbits stared at each other for a moment, each unsure of what to do. The white rabbit took a few cautious steps forward, then stopped. Clover too took a step back, feeling unsure. But then the white rabbit spoke softly, "Are you lost too?" Clover blinked in surprise. "Yes," she said, her voice trembling. "I was with my family, but I got distracted and now I can't find them." The white rabbit's ears drooped a little. "I know how that feels," it said, its voice tinged with sadness. "I'm lost too. I wandered away from my family a while ago and couldn't find my way back." Clover felt a little comforted by the rabbit's words. It wasn't just her. There was someone else in the meadow who understood what it was like to feel alone and scared. "Do you want to try and find them together?" Clover asked, her voice quiet but hopeful. The white rabbit nodded eagerly. "I'd like that. Maybe we can help each other." And so, the two rabbits set off together, venturing into the unknown parts of the meadow. At first, they didn't speak much, both lost in their thoughts, but with every hop they took, they began to feel a little less afraid. They worked together, using their keen senses to search for clues, hoping to find their families or at least a sign of where they might be. As they traveled through the meadow, they encountered new places: an old stone wall covered in ivy, a hidden grove where the sunlight filtered through the leaves, casting soft golden beams on the ground. Along the way they met other creatures: a family of birds who offered to help them with directions, a squirrel who showed them a shortcut through the trees. Clover and the white rabbit learned to work together, listening to each other and trusting that even though they were lost, they were no longer truly alone. Days passed, and as the sun began to dip lower in the sky, Clover realized something remarkable. She wasn't just relying on the white rabbit to find her way home, she had begun to depend on their friendship. They laughed together, shared stories, and helped each other through the difficult moments. Even when they faced challenges like crossing a fast-moving stream or climbing a steep hill, they found strength in each other. One afternoon, as they paused for a rest under a large oak tree, Clover turned to the white rabbit, who was nibbling on a patch of clover. "You know," Clover said softly, "I used to think that finding my family was the most important thing. But now, I think I've found something even more important." The white rabbit stopped eating and looked at Clover. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Clover said, "that I've found a friend. A true friend. And maybe that's what makes this journey worth it." The white rabbit smiled. "I feel the same way. I don't think I could have made it without you." Clover's heart swelled with warmth. She had never known how much she could value the company of another creature, especially one who had been as lost as she was. Together they had become more than just two rabbits wandering the meadow. They had become a team, bound by friendship and trust. But just as they began to feel at peace with each other, something caught Clover's eye. In the distance, through a gap in the trees, she saw a familiar shape, her family. They were standing near a large rock, calling her name. Clover's heart skipped a beat. "I think I see them," Clover exclaimed, her voice full of excitement. The white rabbit looked in the direction Clover was pointing, its eyes widening. "That's your family?" it asked. Clover nodded eagerly. "Yes. I'm so happy." Before she could take a step toward them, she stopped and looked back at the white rabbit. "What about you? Do you want to come with me?" she asked. "You don't have to be alone anymore." The white rabbit hesitated, its eyes filled with uncertainty. "I don't know. My family might not even be looking for me anymore." Clover's voice was gentle but firm. "Everyone deserves to be found. And if they're not looking for you, then we'll be your family." With a grateful smile, the white rabbit nodded. "Okay. I'll come with you." Together, the two bunnies hopped toward Clover's family. As they reached the rock where her family was waiting, Clover's heart swelled with joy. Her family rushed to greet her, their warm arms wrapping around her in a comforting embrace. But Clover's journey didn't end there. She looked over at the white rabbit, who stood shyly behind her. "This is my new friend," Clover said proudly. "And I'm not letting her go." Her family smiled warmly, welcoming the white rabbit into their fold. They had found each other in the vast meadow, and through their friendship, both Clover and the white rabbit had discovered that even in the wildest of places, true friendship can guide the way home. And from that day on, Clover and her new friend shared many more adventures together. No longer were they lost, for they had found something much more precious, each other.